I was working at the car dealership, brother. And, I had a boss over there, Cody. And that boss told me one day, he said, Brian, I'm the reason why you can pay your mortgage. Essentially what he was telling me, he was like, I can approve your deals or I can turn down your deals. And, when he told me that, I was like, you know what, this man thinks he has too much power over me. And I don't want a man to ever think that, all power comes from God, from Yahweh. And, from that point, I was like, you know what, let me go get my insurance license. So I got it on my own and I fired him, and got into insurance, man.
Welcome back to the CA Power Players podcast. I got a special interview today, man. Someone that has accomplished a lot, super successful in the space. Please welcome from Houston, Texas, and Team 300 with NASB, a partner, Brian Celestine.
There you go. What's going on? How you feeling, man?
Dude, I love it, man. He's bringing the energy already. I can promise you guys, this interview will not lack energy, enthusiasm, or a love for insurance.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Dude, for those that don't know you or that don't realize how impressive you are, you're a humble dude. I may have to pull out some bragging moments along the way. What's your story like, man? Where are you from? How'd you grow up? How did you eventually get into insurance? What's all that look like?
Yeah, man. I'm from originally Lafayette, Louisiana. Been in the business now about 15 years. I started out, like I said, in Lafayette at New York Life is where I said that I really cut my teeth in the business. Was with them several years. I was actually the top case writer in the state of Louisiana. Wow. Didn't make the most money, but I did write the most policies by far. And again, with them several years, man, and I had in my mind, Cody, that I was going to be the CEO of New York Life, true story, and, I wasn't looking to move, wasn't looking for another opportunity. But then I was introduced to North American Senior Benefits. And, I looked at it close, man, because I'm not a guy that bounces around. So I really examined it and I looked at the system. I talked to the leadership and got an idea for their vision, man. And, again, once I dabbled in it, I was like, man, this is an opportunity that I don't want to miss. And, started doing North American Senior Benefits over in Lafayette, was there about another year or so. And then I moved to Houston, Texas, man. And this is home. Houston, Texas, been with the company now 11 years, man. Making that move from NASB to New York Life, man, has been the best business decision that I've ever made, Not the best decision. My wife would say she's the best decision that I've made, but
that's right.
This is the best business decision.
Yes. I love that, man. Where's your, talk about your school background, because you're impressive and super eloquent.
Yeah, man. Well, in Head Start. No, I'm joking. I went to high school. I went to high school, man, in Lafayette, Acadiana High. Ran track. Actually got a scholarship for track, academic scholarship. Went to, back in that day, it was USL, University of Southern Louisiana. It's now UL of Lafayette. Went there for a little while, man. I went for nursing and decided that I didn't want to be a nurse. So I dropped out. And I'm so thankful because I'd be a nurse right now had I finished and got into insurance, man. So that's what led me here. You'd
be making a lot less money too.
And yes, and be on the front line of some stuff I'm not interested in doing. So
yeah, I'm with you, man. What was at the nursing? Was it like you've always had a love for people and wanted to help people and just wanted to always have a big heart, caring dude? Where's that come from?
Well, let me be honest, man. My passion growing up was music, right? And some called me the best rapper alive, and that's what I thought. That's me. I call myself the best rapper alive
until 8 Mile, right?
Yeah, well, still. But anyway, I gave up on the music, and I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life at that point when I was in college. And the reason I chose nursing is my dad was like, dude, you should be a nurse. They always have jobs. And I was like, well, whatever. Okay, I guess I'll go be a nurse because they always have jobs. But it wasn't really a passion of mine. So I did well in the academic part. But when we got into the clinicals. Man, when we started actually dealing with the patients and I was wiping butts and I was like, you know what, this is not for me, man.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said.
Yep. You're like, insurance it is. Now, what led you to insurance though?
Man, well, I was selling cars immediately before I got into insurance, right? And the thing about selling cars, man, is, I did very well, made a six-figure income. But the thing is, every month you're starting anew. And the thing that attracted me to life insurance was there's no glass ceiling, right? Not only could I build a residual income, which I loved, but I can also build an agency, which would allow me to, duplicate myself, which was, an important aspect, right? So that's what led me to insurance, man. And I remember, I was working at the car dealership, brother, and I had a boss over there, Cody, and that boss told me one day, he said, "Brian, I'm the reason why you can pay your mortgage." Essentially what he was telling me, he was like, I can approve your deals, or I can turn down your deals. And, when he told me that, I was like, you know what, this man thinks he has too much power over me. And I don't want a man to ever think that, all power comes from God, from Yahweh. And, from that point, I was like, you know what, let me go get my insurance license. So I got it on my own, and I fired him, and got into insurance, man.
I like that. I fired him.
Yeah. He's doing bad.
Did you say fired him? You say fired or hired?
I fired him. I fired that guy. Okay.
I like that. I like that. That's
He's
good,
still upset.
man. I like your outlook on some of that, man. And to go from making six figures to just leave, and have enough belief and confidence in yourself to start over, but realize you're already starting every month anyway, and you're working a bajillion hours and weekends and holidays and all this other stuff, Right. Can you still rap?
I can.
I love that. He's like, dude, come on. I can still rap, man. I cannot. Okay. Just for the record, I cannot. Okay. I watch 8 Mile. Eminem. I'm like, dude, I think I could rap. And I'm like, no, I can't rap.
That's like singing in the shower, right? You think you can sing in the shower, right? Till you get out.
Yes. That's what my wife says too. She's like, yeah, you can't sing a lick. I'm like, but I sounded great in the shower. Right. That's right. What was it about cars that you brought to insurance sales wise?
The hustle, on the lot, man, I was, that's the thing that separated me from, the other people on the lot. People would sit down in their desks and they would wait for people to come to them. And that wasn't my style, man. I actually positioned my desk so that way I can see whoever drives onto the lot. And as soon as somebody would drive onto the lot, I'd run out the door to be the first one. And, man, I was just a hustler. And, I think if you take that level of hustle to anything, you can be successful. And even if you're not that good, if you do it a lot, some good things will happen. And that was one of the things that I took from it, man. That's been great. It's worked out well.
Yeah. How'd your first few months and your first year look when you transitioned and jumped full force in insurance? How'd they go?
Went great. Because again, what I lacked in ability, I made up with effort. Right. So I got right to it, man. I got a script down. I followed what they told me to do, and I went do it a bunch. So I set records at the Lafayette, Louisiana, New York Life office. I set records over there, man. They had never seen that many applications come through. And I was working, man, starting early, keeping a schedule, being disciplined to my presentation, and it yielded results.
Was it just an activity thing,
100%.
Yeah. But you weren't working leads then. Is that fair or no?
No leads, man. I remember how I got started with New York Life. I picked a random neighborhood, man, and I had a yellow pad, went knock on the doors. I said, "Hey, my name's Brian Celestine. I'm representing New York Life. You probably didn't know you had a representative in this area. We're just here introducing ourselves to the community. Just want to get your name and number, and I'll call you sometime in the future." And that day, I got like 17 name and numbers, right? And I would call them. And from that point on, Cody, at New York Life, I never had to knock another door because I made sure I got referrals in every single house. Whether I made the sale or didn't make the sale, my priority most of the time was making sure that I left with referrals, and did very well with that.
Yeah, we're similar in that respect. I started out with no leads, door knocking as well. So I a ton of respect for that because that is it. It's not easy, that's for sure.
No,
But
sure.
if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Especially when
That's
you
it.
don't know any better and you don't know what's available yet, right?
Right.
Which you learned with NASB. How did you end up there from NYL to NASB?
Yeah, man. Well, I went to a meeting. It's a funny story. I went to a meeting for a whole nother company, right? Expecting to
Okay.
hear from a whole nother company. And, the guy came, he flew in, he presented that other company. And then the individual who invited me, that guy left. He was like, all right, guys, well, I'm going to go. I got a plane to catch. So he left out of that meeting room. It was an audience of people, by the way, that this gentleman was presenting to. He left. Okay. The guy who invited me came to the front of the room. He was like, y'all, forget everything that guy said. And then
Shut up.
yes, man. And he presented North American Senior Benefits. And that's how I was introduced. And I'm so thankful for that guy's shadiness, man. It worked out well for me.
Did the other guy ever hear about that?
Yeah, eventually he found out. Yes, eventually he found out.
Maybe he shouldn't leave so quick, right?
Right. I stayed at all my meetings, man, till the very end. Yes.
I love that. Is that something you did as well to like build your business and recruit and help people?
Absolutely. Meetings, road shows, boot camps,
Yep.
still do to this day. In fact, we have one in 2 weeks here in Houston. So if any of you want to attend, just give me a call.
That's right.
I will actually cover the cost of your ticket for you, man. But yeah,
Love
of course, man, presenting this to as many people as possible. And something we place a heavy emphasis on here is training, support, and being really hands-on with the agents that we deal with. We don't hire everyone. We hire less people, the right people, and spend a lot of time with the right people. And that, again, it's worked out well for us.
Yeah. How do you know if they're the right person? Obviously, you don't always know that, but what are you asking? What are you looking for?
Man, I mean, coachability, right?
Yep.
Being coachable. You don't want somebody who thinks they know it all, right?
Yeah.
You want somebody with a work ethic, So if they have a work ethic and they're coachable, then man, really, and integrity driven. I'll throw
Yeah.
that in as well. So if we
Yep.
can put those three things together, man, integrity driven, work ethic, coachability, then you can teach someone how to be successful at this business.
Yes. Do you see those pieces before through certain questions or their resume or their story, or do you most likely see it after they start?
Well, I think you see some of it before if
Okay.
you pry and ask the right questions. I like to do an introductory one-on-one, right? Kind of speak to people and ask them questions. Hey, what is your why, right? What do you
Good.
want? What's your schedule looking like? What do you plan to do? So if you ask the right questions, you can get a feel for some things to some degree. Now, whether someone is integrity driven, sometimes that'll take longer to play out, right? There'll be some red flags that you can catch along the path,
Sure.
but it'll take a while to play out. And even you don't hear many people say, "Yeah, I'm a light worker," right? Yeah, I like to work light.
I'm so lazy. I'm so lazy.
I'm so lazy. Right. Most people don't do that. They're going to say they're hard work or they're going to put in the 40 hours, but then actions speak louder than words. And you'll see, okay, are they backing up, what they say they want, their why, is that followed with action? Are they disciplined in learning their craft, right? And you start to see early on, what people, what they really got inside of them.
It's good. So good. And so when you transitioned to NASB, what did your time early as an agent look like there? You didn't have to go cold door knock and get phone and number from people, I'm guessing.
No. So we had a lead system, right, where we worked direct mail pieces. So like I told you, man, I got referrals early on. So I really had to switch my entire way of doing business. And the reason that I did it is so that way I can be duplicatable, right, and teach the system.
Yep.
Because at New York Life, I was great at getting referrals. But what I saw there is that was hard to duplicate. people came and went. It was a revolving door. But having leads, if these same individuals had leads, then they can be successful and get in front of people who are interested in what they have. So making that transition, man, I dove right into the lead system and started, going door to door, knocking with the lead.
Yep.
I like to take it to the door. Learned an entirely new presentation. And you know what? I've been saying the same thing since then. I believe that the people who are most consistent will consistently sell more. So I'm consistent with my schedule. What did that look like? Mondays, Tuesdays, I work 10 to 8, Wednesdays, 10 to 6, Thursdays, 10 to 8, Fridays, 10 to 6, Saturdays, 10 to 8, Sundays, I was off. 56-hour work week. My goal was to write 10,000 AP plus per week. And I wrote at a high level, man. I won Agent of the Year here at North American, and wrote the most business in the country. And while I was doing that, man, I didn't have any agents. So I wanted to build my agency at the same time, because that was really the big draw for me, being able to build an agency, right? And so on the way to my first appointment, right, if I'm starting at 10, I got to leave at 9. I was making dials, calling resumes, calling different ads and whatnot, people who would apply for the ads, right? And doing interviews, man. I would field the calls throughout the day. I would get people in the car to come watch me, because we believe, hey, the person who field trains the most are the ones who are going to grow the fastest. So did that early on, man, even from the beginning. And, was I a leader then? Yes, I was a leader. Was I a good leader? Maybe not so good. But I also, started working immediately on my personal development, man, reading and, John Maxwell, and great leadership book, man. I don't know if you've read it, Tribal Leadership. Phenomenal book, man. Read that one if you haven't. I recommend that to all reviewers. Tribal Leadership. That book was, instrumental in a lot of the things that I do now.
I love it. I've read a bunch of his books. I have not read that one. Tribal Leadership.
Tribal Leadership is not John Maxwell. That's three different authors. Yeah, it's a different group of authors, but phenomenal read.
That's
don't
awesome.
Listen, by the way, don't listen to the audio, because that guy's boring. Read the book. It's worth it.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Do not listen. Actually read. You know what's funny, man, is I used to tell on the book thing, I used to tell myself I don't like to read. You know what's funny is, the more I said that, the less I read. And so now it's like, dude, if I want to be good at something, I just tell myself I'm not bad at it. You know what I mean? It's interesting how much we can trick ourselves into thinking that there's a lot of people that are watching you. They're like, man, sitting down and reading a book, I don't know, man. But dude, Brian's made so much money. He's worth, a bunch of money. He's doing really well. And he's saying, hey, pick up the book and read it. That'll show you some coachability right there. See who actually does that.
100%, man. It'll be worth the read. You'll be glad you did. Absolutely.
Okay. I like it. How many agents do you have now?
Man, we're about 70-ish guys and girls.
Cool.
Now, when I say 70-ish, right, I'm talking about people who write business on a weekly basis, okay?
Got it.
I know I hear some people say, how many agents? Oh, I have 500. How many writing business? Two of them write business every week. No, I'm talking about real, bona fide agents writing business.
That's awesome. Yeah, which means you've got hundreds, but, doesn't mean they're all working, which is cool. Yeah. So I like that. I like the honesty there. The 56-hour week, you talked about that, which I love that. I want to kind of hit on that for a second. You gave us the time breakdown for each day, 10 to 8, 10 to 8, 10 to 6, 10 to 8, 10 to 6, something like that. 10 grand. What was the anatomy of the 10,000 hour week for you? We got the schedule, we've got the number. Kind of break that down. What's that look like?
Yeah.
How did you achieve that?
So what you want to do, man, is if you can make a career of doing 15 to 25 presentations per week. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about just, I'm talking about real in the home, sitting down, presenting, right? If you can do 15 to 25 interviews, get 30 what we call platinum leads. So these are direct mail pieces that we use, 30 platinum leads, get you, you do 15 to 25 presentations from those leads. And if you do the presentation that I've done, you can get 10,000 per week or more.
Wow.
Right. I've had, 30 something thousand weeks. So, but if you can make a career of doing that 15 to 25 on 30 fresh leads platinum leads, and actually taking that to the door. I think that's important. Calling is one thing, and you can be successful calling, because I do that as well. But there's nothing like taking a lead to the door where the individual can see their handwriting, their signature. You're not caught up in that telemarketing. Because listen, I got calls today from people who, oh, you did this about, no, I didn't. Click. Right. So you don't want to get caught up in that. So take it to the door and with a smiling face. It's hard to slam the door when I'm smiling this big, man. It's hard.
That's right. That's right, man. You got a good smile too. 10,000 bucks, 30 platinum leads, 15 to 25 presentations per week with your presentation, taking the lead to the door. That's how you 10x a lead investment, man. What did it cost you? Like 900,000 bucks a week for those, something like that?
Yeah. So about that, about nine right now, 960. Back when I was in the field full time, it was a little less than that, but obviously postage is going up. So it's about $960 right now.
I love that, man. How to 10x a lead investment. That's phenomenal.
We should do another podcast on that, man. Who knows? 10x.
Dude, we should. That's a good concept, right? That's a good concept. What advice would you give to an agent that's out there that's like, man, I'm kind of doing this thing part-time. I am doing it part-time, or I'm just kind of working part-time. One of the two, the same result either way. And I'm not consistently buying leads. I'm struggling. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. I'm thinking about tapping out and quitting. I would bet there's 500,000 to 1 million insurance agents in the US that just described. What would you say to those individuals? What advice would you give?
Okay, so I can give you a recipe that will ensure your success if you do it. This business, it boils down to four things, the 4 C's, right? If you do these 4 C's, then you'll be successful. Number one, consistent schedule, right? If you're doing this part-time, then stop if you're serious about your success. I mean, what are you going to do part-time? What are you expecting? Right. So make a schedule. Now, it doesn't have to be a 56-hour work week, Cody, right? It can be 40. We're adults. So adults, you should at least be willing to put in 40 hours as an adult, right? So if you can have a consistent schedule. Now, look at yourself as a business, right? When you're 1099, you're a business owner, whether you know it or not. And if, I've worked at different companies throughout my life. When I was a kid, I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Walmart. I worked at this pizza place called Mr. Gaddy's. All of these businesses, all of these companies had something in common. They were so committed to their schedule, they had it written on the door, right? So you don't go to McDonald's and they say they're going to open up at 6 a.m. And if you get there at 6:30, they say, come back in an hour, right? Or if you go to Walmart and they say they're opening up at 7 a.m., at 7:02, you're going to be looking through the door like, is somebody going to open this? 2 minutes late, right? So you are a business. You have to treat your business like a business. So have hours of operation, consistent schedule. Number 2 is a consistent lead flow. We just spoke about that. The key is to do it every week. You can't do it every other week, right? Using that same analogy, people try to save money on leads. Okay, well, let's use the McDonald's analogy I'm just using. What if McDonald's said, let's save money this week? Let's not buy any patties, any buns, or any fries. We'll save, X amount of money this week. How will that work out for them? Well, it wouldn't work out well, right? Because that is their inventory. Now, the leads are your inventory. So you need inventory. You need your shelves stocked, so to speak, with clients. And those are your leads. So you may have to make sure you do it every week. So consistent lead flow every week. Number 3, third C is a consistent presentation. I say the same thing every single time. Cody, I know my presentation so well. Now, I'm not a robot. It sounds conversational, and I can converse with the client on anything they want to talk about. They can interrupt me and start talking about their cat Fluffy, and I can engage them. Yes, that cat is Fluffy, Miss Johnson, one of the fluffiest I've seen. You should be proud. But then I can get back to the point in the presentation that I left off because I know it so well. So consistent presentation is key, and then consistent communication. Right. Speaking to your upline, it's not a term I like to use, but your manager, your partner in the business. Right. We have a daily call that we do, a daily training call, being a part of that daily training / accountability call every single day. When you're in the home and you don't know which company to go with. Right. Calling your manager in the home so we can help you with the underwriting. So if you can do those 4 things, right? consistent schedule, consistent lead flow, consistent presentation, consistent communication. And I always add a fifth C. I know I said it was the 4 C's, but the fifth C code is to consistently do the 4 C's. You can't pick one or two.
Yeah.
Try it this week, and then we're going to do the other 2 the next week. The magic happens when you put them all together, right? It's like making a fist, right? You're not going to hit somebody very hard with 1 finger or 2 fingers. But when you ball that fist, man, that's where the power comes from. And it's the same thing in this business. When you do that, boom, you can quit your job and you can start making money doing this immediately.
That's good, man. So good. I love the consistency of that, man. That's solid. Phenomenal. If someone wants to learn more about you and reach out, how can they do that? Where should they go?
Yeah, man, call me directly, man. I like having conversations. So Brian Celestine, now let me give you my number. Can I do that? 337-412-2082. 337-412-2082. Give me a call. If you're looking for a partner in this business, if you're looking for some mentorship, I believe that the fastest way to become successful is good mentorship. Somebody who's been there and who's at where you're looking to go. Yeah, give me a call, man. We're looking for integrity-driven, hard-working, coachable, teachable people, man.
I love it. Brian, you're amazing. Phenomenal content. I've got 2 complete pages and I started with nothing.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, cool, man.
I did, man. I did. 2 complete pages now, bro. Like, this is phenomenal content. You guys need to absorb this, follow this, reach out and connect with this dude. Brian, thank you for your time. You're amazing.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to Team 300. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Thank you guys for being on the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I can't promise the next guest will be as cool as Brian Celestine. But either way, we'll see you next time. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. There's a lot of agents out there, man, that they want to sell with a phone. I think a lot of you listening, you would love to do that. But they just struggle to do it. They're like, I don't have the perfect script. I don't know what to say when they want me to mail them stuff. Or I've always done face-to-face sales. And so this